Hello and good evening, everyone. We would love to welcome you to the Promise Champions Career Exploration Chats. Yay! We have a champion of ours who will love to speak with everyone about what she does, how she got started in her career, and any, few bumps or, transitions she had along the way. We're here for it so that we're able to be very transparent about what it takes to have a career and how you get there. So, without further ado, we are welcoming Miss Monica.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Portia, for the introduction. So I'm Monika Teague. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I work for Fidelity Investments as a regional center talent champion. And if you're wondering, okay, what does that mean? It's a fancy word for hiring manager. I have worked at Fidelity for 16 years. And in my current role that I'm in, I've been in this role for about a year and a half. And so my primary day-to-day is conducting final interviews for multiple roles for the company for a particular unit of the personal investment side of Fidelity. Most people may associate Fidelity and like, oh yeah, I think there's like a 401k, or I know someone that they work for somewhere that had an account. That's where most people find familiarity with Fidelity Investments. And so I'm on a personal investment side where it's important for you to also save for retirement on your own that's maybe not associated with your employer. But aside from conducting final interviews, we do have a heavy involvement with kind of the new hires that we have actually hired that are coming into the company, and kind of walking with them and their career journey. While they're maybe not necessarily our direct report to us, but we're heavily involved in having career conversations, and also giving back to universities in the Metroplex, from the conducting mock interviews with them, maybe some resume reviews. So we've been able to kind of start getting back on campuses even. Most recently over the past couple of months to have some involvement and get in front of students and talk about what a career could look like coming into this industry. Kind of taking a step back, how did I even get here? I did come to Fidelity right after graduating college. I was a finance major, but full transparency, nowadays in the industry that we work in, financial services, it's really at the core, it's customer service, it's customer interactions. Do you have an affinity to wanting to help people and talk and kind of educate about financial literacy and why it's important? That doesn't require you to have a finance degree, because quite frankly, I didn't know all of the things in coming into this industry, and it was still about the experience I had in interacting with customers prior to working here. I did go straight into a four-year university. I'm an alum from University of Texas at Arlington. When I think about, yeah, go Mavs. When I think about my journey, I do wish I'd actually gone to community college first. I came out of a four-year university with some student loans and some debt that certainly would have been lessened had I taken advantage of going to a community college, getting my associates there, and then transferring to a four-year university. That's probably some really good advice, and the advice that I've actually given my own 19-year-old who's at Tarrant County College right now. So, and she's having a good time. But I started out like most people do, and don't feel bad about it. But you think, okay, what do I want to do post high school and college? I was kind of like, okay, we'll see. And it felt like it was trying it out, but definitely didn't know what I wanted to major in. And so kind of started out undeclared, but figuring out what were some of the interests that I had, and I ended up going accounting. And so started taking accounting classes, and then realized, you know what? I'm not going to probably interact with people in some of these careers that we're talking about in that accounting field. And it didn't really feel like it was something that I would feel fulfilled in the work that I would be doing long term. And so I talked to my academic advisor and ended up switching my major from accounting to finance. That gave me still kind of that math component and calculations, but also learning a lot that I could also benefit from myself. But then still having a lot of opportunities to have more interaction with people and play into some of the skills that I already had and working in customer service type roles, which, you know, a lot of us, our first jobs are maybe in the food service or retail. So that really that really spoke into some of my experience that I had, and I would be able to combine kind of that passion for financial literacy, but also getting human interaction because I like I like talking to people and I'm a social butterfly, so I needed that to feel fulfilled. So how did I even get with Fidelity? It was their presence that they had on campus. And right now, like, let's be frank, going into the employment realm, employment is very low in the Dallas Fort Worth area. And we have a lot of choices when it comes to employment and employment of choice. There's not any one place that's probably not hiring these days. Why I ended up at that time going with Fidelity, because I did have some choices, even back in, I won't date myself and tell y'all what year it was, but a while ago. Uh, and I really ended up choosing Fidelity because of their consistency, their presence. It also made me feel warm and welcomed. And why that was important for me was because, let's be honest, going into an industry that in finance is not dominated by women of color. So it was important for me to feel seen, feel heard, and feel welcomed. And so that's ended up why, one, that kind of stood out to me, that consistently the interactions I would have with different people that were coming and representing the company, they gave me that feeling. And then the second thing that kind of sealed the deal was part of starting and working in financial services in the industry is I did need to take some series licensing exams. And so the support that was around those licenses looked different from company to company. Some, it felt like, okay, here's your books, good luck, let us know how the test goes. So there wasn't a lot of resources and structure provided and support in going through a licensing process, versus Fidelity had provided what very much felt like what I'd come out of, which was a college class, having a syllabus, having instruction, deadlines, due dates, expectations set, and really resources along the way. Should I come into a situation of I need to raise my hand and I'm asking for help, what are those resources and how do I leverage them? All of that was present. And this was a test that we had to pass in order to keep our job. That was really important for me coming out of college, because let's not forget that choice I made to go to that four-year university and come out with some student loans, and they were expecting their money after at least 6 months past graduation. So it was important for me to have employment secured and figure out what my financial plan was to start paying that debt down. And so ended up going to Fidelity. Literally been there ever since, in our regional center that's in Westlake, Texas. So it's kind of near that South Lake Trophy Club area on 114. And it's really an amazing place to work. The reason why I say that it's an amazing place to work, because they do have a high focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion as a company, but really take a strong sense of also what's the employee sentiment like, how are the associates feeling. And for example, when I started there, they did not have a student loan repayment program. This actually started from them sending out a survey to ask, what did you maybe need from your employer? And, how much student loan debt did you have? And lo and behold, they end up rolling out a program to help pay down student loans. And today I can sit here and tell you, I don't have any more student loans, finally, thank God. Yes. But things like that. You definitely want to keep in mind with having a lot of choices when it comes to your employment. What is your employer also doing for you? You absolutely, hone into the skills that you bring to the table. And also, knowing that you place a high value on that. Um, Things that I will maybe mention as it comes to the day-to-day of my role, like what was really important, what's important to me in my role, especially in hiring. It's a very busy space because there's a war on talent. Again, with the choices, it's a double-edged sword. Like, yes, low unemployment, but then, ouch. Okay, who else are you looking at for? That's our competition. So it's important though for me in the interviews that I conduct that I'm highly aware of what my unconscious bias is. So for example, maybe there's someone that comes in, it's a woman of color. There, I may definitely already feel a little bit of a bias because I'm like, oh, they look like me. Yes, I'd love to hire them, right? But we haven't even gotten to, well, what we're actually assessing the talent on, which is it's coming down to the competencies. We pride ourselves on, we are hiring based on someone's skills that they bring to the table, and not hiring off of, well, do they fit with the company? What really makes for a great, diverse workforce is when you hire people that will come in and add to your culture, not come in and just fit in the box that you've already got there for them. No, you want people to add to it. And so that's why we certainly look for people that are coming from backgrounds that are not finance, right? We like the people that maybe they've, been a sales manager at Best Buy for 10 years and they're thinking I need a career change, or folks that have worked, in that restaurant industry for many years, and they're looking for something that maybe has more of a work-life balance. So it's amazing place in my day-to-day in my role, being able to give people other opportunities. What some usually ask me, like, okay, wait a minute, you're conducting final interviews all day, so that means you're on Zoom. Do you get Zoom fatigue? And I tell people, you know what, it can have its moments, but I have to kind of capitalize on that moment to be able to bring that same level and energy and engagement that's maybe my first interview of the day to my last interview of the day, because I get this opportunity to be the first face that they see of the company, and I put a high price on that. I really want to engage them in a way that even if they may not be a hire for me, that they'll still walk away and maybe take the feedback to heart, work on it, because we certainly do not leave people hanging. We always close the loop with them. That's really important, and something I will tell you to, as you interview and go about your career and go and talk to companies, absolutely ask for the feedback and ask for actionable feedback. What is it that I need to work on and how? And we pride ourselves on that as a company, being able to give candidates that experience. And maybe they'll take it to heart again and work on it, or maybe they'll, identify, I this probably wasn't the best, role for me. I wouldn't have been fulfilled in this role. Those aren't things that play into my strengths, or where maybe, I would find myself long term. And instead, maybe they'll identify, but you know what, I had such a great hiring and candidate experience that I'll go back and I'll refer someone that I know that could be a good fit for the company. So that's really kind of the things that I have as a high importance as I kind of go about my day-to-day. And one thing that people always ask me, having been at Fidelity for almost 16 years, but just working, right? In corporate America, it can seem like a scary place. Full transparency, this was definitely my first real job. I felt like, the big girl job after college. And it was a bit terrifying, not gonna lie, not knowing what to expect. And so when I think about what would I tell my younger self, I would definitely tell my younger self, like, don't hesitate. As a woman of color and working in certain industries, you're definitely underrepresented, right? But you've got to not hesitate to do things like apply for roles, apply for other roles and opportunities where, maybe other counterparts of ours, they may have, maybe one of the 10 criteria, they're applying. They're applying. And this may even, be our male counterparts, to be honest, that are applying. But women and women of color may find that, oh gosh, you know what? I've got 7 of the 10. I'm not going to apply. So just really not hesitating on making that next move, and be bold in it, and know that at the least they can say is no. But guess what? You'll be able to walk away with some feedback, something actionable that can still take you further into your career. And maybe you will find your next place where you should be.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm like, shoot, I didn't have any questions. You covered it all from when you started, when you transitioned to your job, how long you've been there, the longevity, even your day-to-day operations. I'm like, well, shoot, she done took some of my questions. Thank you for sharing that. And it was definitely an eye-opener, and just seeing like, shoot, went to for a year, and this has been the same job that that you've been at. And of course, we know that nothing is perfect, but this is a great eye opener to longevity. I know, with the generation, they may stay a couple of years at one position and then move, and I know it changes from generation to generation, but it's still so refreshing to see the longevity, and you've enjoyed it thus far and been able to, just really hone in on what you do and then enjoying it. And it's in corporate. Because you hear everything about corporate, from the ups to the downs.
The good, bad, the ugly.
So everybody can tell you something, a story here, there, but it's just really great just for you to share your experience. And I just feel that's great for the students and the youth, because anybody can tell you anything. You can share this, you can share that, but everybody has an experience. And so please just don't hold on to that one experience, because we have Monika here sharing her experience, and she didn't got a job and been there since she graduated college. So it's like, and she debt free. Did you say debt free?
Debt free. I don't have any more student loans. So Fidelity matched my student loan payments. And yeah, the rest is kind of been history. And I have just to also clarify with what my current role is, but I've probably held probably anywhere from 12 different roles, from individual contributor to leadership roles, leading teams, support aspects, also working in a couple different project teams, and able to even impact the way we do business with our customers. So it's been a great ride. I'm still here because I haven't gotten bored. There's always something to do. There's a ton of mobility. What I would definitely say for our folks coming through and kind of early on in their careers, or going through college, right? What are some of the things to kind of get on sooner than later? I will say, from a professional networking standpoint, LinkedIn. I tell people, get on LinkedIn. I'll tell folks right now, go on my LinkedIn and creep on it and see, maybe where you should update yours, or take some, tweaks here and there. It's definitely a place where you want to be, to do some networking professionally, and also just kind of build those connections ahead of time, even before before needing to look for internships. That was something that I really, really wish I would have did during my college career, is explore different internships, so that you can get a feel for kind of like a try it out before you graduate, and then you're trying it out, and then it looks like, oh man, my resume, I've got a lot of, maybe job hopping and a couple months here or there, versus try and explore some internships so you can figure out what's that work setting in the day-to-day work that you want to do, that you could feel fulfilled, and just don't be afraid to ask questions. Certainly no question is a stupid question.
For real, because I'm always asking questions, so I attest to that. Just thank you for the transparency. Like, I feel refreshed. 16 years. I'm like, shoot, dang, I love it. I love to hear it, and I love just how excited you are to speak about what you do. Man, Star, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but same thing. I was taking notes, and I think, Monica, thank you for sharing your experience and your wisdom, and just, yeah, being transparent, I think is really helpful. I loved a lot of what you said. I love that. I just kind of want to go back, and I'm looking through my notes, and just really how you encourage people to lean into what fulfills them, and also what their natural skills may be. I think that is so important. I like that you shared the why. I think it's important for us all to know our why, and why we want to do something and why we want to work for this company. And I think if we can get to as early as we can get to those whys, I think will benefit us, in the long run. So I loved hearing you speak to that. And then what else? Oh, just again, right, Portia, that she has been there for 16 years. I think that's something too for students to think about, is there growth at this company? Because a lot of companies can offer that, right? You've been there 16 years, but you have had many different roles. And I think for me, that's really exciting. And not every company will be like that. But if you can tap into that resource within a company, there's a lot of growth opportunities. And I think that's really exciting too. Maybe this job will be just setting you up for the next thing, whether that be within your same company or another company. But yeah, so thank you for all of that. I love, even as as an adult in the industry, having reminders of these things is so valuable.
I'm certainly grateful for the opportunity, and you all having this platform to kind of share our journey and stories. I know there's really some amazing champions that are a part of this effort. So I'm thankful to be one of many.
We appreciate you. We do. I tell you all the time, not just you, but all the champions. We appreciate you all, because this is what we want our youth to see, not only just working and making sure they're prepared, but them being able to hear the things that you all have experienced and share your insight, so it doesn't look like, oh, we're just here to help you and that we've been through nothing. Because when you have younger youth, they feel as if you don't understand. You couldn't have possibly been through what I've gone through. And it's like, it was a different year and a different time, but trust and believe, we have shared some of the same experiences. So it's definitely, just so nice to be able to have not only someone that can share their insight on what they do in their career, but you're a champion too. And so this will definitely be able to help those to come, your student that you're working with, and so on. And so we're just so appreciative to just have you here this evening and talking and sharing with us. So this can be, played again and again and again. And we're like, hey, check us out. We have one of our own champions speaking with us about how they got started, and all smiles. I just love the joy you have about your job, especially working.
I do. I really love working there. I tell people all the time, I'm like, if I did not love this company, I totally would not be in the role that I'm in. But it's amazing. Like, the company has really helped me in many different ways.
And that's good. And it's helped in all different basis too. Like, not just school, not just helping out with dad, but you've been able to do the many roles. I love that, Star took a note that you had over 12 different roles. So you've been able to grow within the same company. And it's like, dang, I don't have to do the same thing all the time. Like, I've been here a couple of years and I transitioned to something else, or I have a role, but I could be doing 2 or 3 different things. And that's the things that I feel like is very important for our students as well, because even when you're within a role, you never stop learning. So you're building on your toolbox, putting your skills in your toolbox. Definitely learned that in graduate school. So, and if it's undergrad, pretty sure it's there too, but you're adding things to your toolbox. So you're just always learning and storing up those things. And it's just phenomenal. I love it. Thank you so much, Monika, for sharing your story with us. She loves us. She really loves us.
I do remind people that, you know what, working in corporate America, it's not a corporate, ladder that you climb. Sometimes it's really a rock climb. So there's many different directions that you can go in. There's not just one way up. And just to, Portia's point, right, add those skills to your tool belt. So you're just continuously kind of stretching yourself, but also growing in many different directions.
And on that note, that sums it up for us, guys. This was great. I love it. I did not know she had been working there 16 years. See, we good. We started these chats off great. Well, we're just so thankful to have you here, join us here this evening, kicking off our career exploration chats. We loved it. And without further ado, this is all for us. Thank you again, Monica. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Monica. It was great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, y'all.